Welcome to Daily English with Buddy. I'm Mac, and joining me as always is my good friend Carrie. How are you doing today, Carrie?
Hey, Mac, I'm really good, thanks. I'm happy to be here. How about you?
I'm great. I actually had a really fun weekend. I spent some time drawing, something I haven't done since I was a kid, and it made me think, why did I ever stop?
Oh, that's such a nice thing to do. And honestly, I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling.
Exactly. So today we want to talk about something really interesting, how going back to the hobbies we loved as children can actually help us understand who we are. It's a topic about identity, happiness, and finding yourself again.
I love this topic. It's something I've thought about a lot too. And I think our listeners are going to enjoy this conversation.
Yes. And if you're learning English, this is a great episode to practice. The vocabulary is simple, the conversation is natural, and the topic is something everyone can connect with. So let's get started. Okay, Carrie, let's start with something fun. What did you love doing as a child? Like, what was your favorite hobby or activity?
Oh, that's easy. I absolutely loved reading. I would read any book I could find, adventure stories, fairy tales, mystery books. I remember going to the library every Saturday with my mom. It was my favorite part of the week.
That's so sweet. I remember that feeling when you find a book and you just can't stop reading it.
Yes, exactly. And I also loved writing little stories. I had this notebook where I would write my own characters and adventures. I thought I was going to be a famous author someday.
That's adorable. And maybe you still can be. What about me? I told you I was drawing this weekend. When I was young, I drew all the time. I loved drawing cartoon characters, animals, superheroes, anything really.
Really? I didn't know that about you. Were you good at it?
I thought I was. My mom always put my drawings on the fridge. But I remember also loving music. I took piano lessons for a few years. I wasn't amazing, but I really enjoyed it.
I think so many kids love music. It's just such a natural thing for children, right? They love to sing, dance, make noise.
Totally. And sports too. A lot of kids play outside all day. Football, basketball, running around with friends. There's such freedom in that.
Yes, I used to love riding my bike and exploring my neighborhood with friends. We didn't need phones or games. We just played outside until it was dark.
Those are really special memories. I think when we were children, we did things just because they made us happy. We didn't think about whether we were good enough or whether other people approved. We just did it.
That's such a good point. Children are so free in that way. They do what feels good, not what looks good to others.
So then, what happens? Why do we stop doing all those things we loved?
I think school is a big reason. When we get older, school becomes very serious. There are exams, grades, homework. Suddenly, there's no time to just play or create.
Right, and there's a lot of pressure. You have to study the right subjects, get good grades, prepare for university or a job. Creative hobbies often feel like a waste of time.
I remember when I was about 13 or 14, I stopped writing stories. My teachers told me I should focus on mathematics and science because those were more useful. And I just believed them.
That's so sad, but I understand. A lot of us were told the same thing. Art, music, writing, they were seen as hobbies, not serious things.
And then there's social pressure too. When you're a teenager, you care a lot about what other people think. Playing piano or drawing might feel embarrassing, like it's not cool enough.
Oh, yes, definitely. I stopped drawing because I thought my friends would think it was childish. I wanted to fit in.
That's really common. We change ourselves to fit the group, and slowly we lose the things that made us unique.
And then comes work, right? You get a job, you have responsibilities, bills to pay. You're tired at the end of the day. There just doesn't seem to be time for hobbies anymore.
Absolutely. Life gets very busy. And even when we have free time, we often just scroll on our phones or watch TV because we're too tired to do something creative.
It's interesting, right? We think of growing up as moving forward, but sometimes it means leaving behind the things that made us happiest.
Exactly. And I think many people don't even realize how much they've lost until something reminds them. Like you drawing this weekend? What made you start again?
Honestly, I saw my little niece drawing, and she looked so focused and happy. And I just thought, I want that feeling again. So I picked up a pencil and I didn't stop for 2 hours.
That is so beautiful. I love that.
So let's talk about people who do go back to those childhood interests. Have you heard any stories about adults who rediscovered old hobbies?
Yes, I read about a woman. She was in her 40s, working as an accountant, and she started painting again after about 20 years. She had loved art as a child, but stopped when she went to university. And when she started painting again, she said it changed her life.
Wow, that's amazing. What happened exactly?
Well, she started just painting on weekends, just for herself. And slowly she felt more relaxed, more creative, more alive, she said. Eventually, she started selling her paintings online, and now it's her full-time job.
That's incredible. Going from accountant to full-time artist in her 40s. That takes real courage.
It really does. And I also know someone personally, my cousin. He played guitar when he was young, but stopped for about 15 years. Last year, he started again. He just plays at home, not professionally. But he says it's the best part of his day.
I think that's actually the key point. It doesn't have to become your job. It doesn't have to be perfect. You do it because it brings you joy.
Exactly right. There's actually a word for this: joyful play. When we do something just because we enjoy it with no pressure or goal, it's incredibly good for our minds.
I've also read about adults who went back to sport. People who played football or basketball as kids, and then in their 30s or 40s, they join a local team again. And they say it brings back this feeling of being young and free.
Yes. And it's not about being the best player. It's about that feeling, the teamwork, the energy, the fun. Those feelings don't disappear just because we get older.
And I think writing is another big one. So many people kept journals or wrote stories as children, and when adults go back to writing, even just a diary, they feel more clear-headed, more honest with themselves.
Writing really helps you understand your own thoughts, doesn't it? When you write something down, you understand it better.
Absolutely. And building things too. I know a man who loved building with toy blocks as a child. As an adult, he started woodworking, making furniture. He says when he's building something with his hands, all his worries disappear.
That's so true. There's something very calming and satisfying about creating something with your own hands.
It really does feel like coming home in a way, doesn't it? Like going back to a place that always felt safe.
That's a beautiful way to describe it, Mac.
So let's talk about the deeper question. How does returning to childhood interests actually help you find yourself?
I think it starts with identity. When we were children, the things we loved were very close to who we really are. We hadn't been shaped yet by society's expectations, by peer pressure, by career choices. We just did what felt natural.
So you're saying those early interests are like a window into our true personality.
Exactly. If you loved drawing as a child, maybe that means you are a creative, visual person by nature. If you loved building things, maybe you are someone who thinks in a practical, problem-solving way. These are clues about who you really are.
That's really interesting. I never thought about it that way. Like the child version of you knew something important about you, and the adult version sometimes forgets.
Yes, and reconnecting with those interests can remind you. It can make you say, oh, this is me. This is who I am when I'm not trying to be what the world wants.
And what about happiness? Do you think going back to childhood hobbies makes people happier?
I think it really does. There's actually research that supports this. When adults engage in creative activities, their stress levels go down. They feel less anxious. They sleep better. It's very connected to mental health.
That makes a lot of sense. When I was drawing this weekend, I completely forgot about everything else. No emails, no worries, no to-do list, just me and the pencil.
That's called flow. It's a psychological term. It means you're so focused on what you're doing that time disappears. And research shows that experiencing flow regularly makes people much happier and more satisfied with life.
Oh, I've heard of that. And it's interesting. Children experience flow all the time. They get completely absorbed in play. Adults lose that ability somewhere along the way.
But we can get it back. That's the good news. And creativity is also really connected to mental flexibility, the ability to think in new ways, to solve problems, to adapt. People who keep creative hobbies tend to be more resilient.
And I think there's something about self-confidence too. When you do something you loved as a child, it reminds you that you are a person with talents and passions, not just a job title or a role.
That's so true. So much of adult life is about what we produce, our work, our income, our achievements. But childhood hobbies remind us that we are more than our productivity. We are creative, curious human beings.
I think that's maybe the most important message. It's about remembering who you are beyond your responsibilities. You are not just an employee or a parent or a student. You are also the child who loved to paint or sing or play outside.
Beautifully said, Mac. And I think when people reconnect with that, they feel more whole, more complete, like they've found a piece of themselves they didn't know was missing.
Okay, so let's give our listeners some practical advice. If someone is listening right now and they want to reconnect with something they loved as a child, where do they start?
I would say start by thinking back. What did you love to do between the ages of 5 and 12? What made you lose track of time? What did you do just because it was fun, not because anyone told you to?
That's a great first step. And don't put pressure on yourself. You don't need to be perfect. You're not trying to become a professional. You're just trying to enjoy yourself again.
Yes, this is really important. A lot of adults give up on hobbies because they feel like they're not good enough. But the goal isn't to be great at it. The goal is to enjoy it.
Start small, too. You don't need to buy expensive equipment or take a class right away. If you loved drawing, just get a pencil and some paper. If you loved music, look up some songs on YouTube and just listen or try to play along.
And give it time. The first time you try something again after years, it might feel a little strange or difficult. That's completely normal. Give yourself a few sessions before deciding if you like it.
Also, share it with someone. Tell a friend or family member, or join a community. There are so many online groups for people who love painting, writing, gardening, knitting, whatever it is. You'll find people who are just like you.
That's such good advice. Community makes everything more fun and more sustainable. And it's motivating to see others enjoying the same thing.
So, listeners, this week I challenge you. Think about one thing you loved doing as a child that you no longer do, and try it again, even for just 30 minutes. See how it feels.
I love that challenge. And I'm going to do it too. I'm going to write a short story this week, just for me, just for fun.
I love it, and I'm going to keep drawing. Maybe I'll even try painting soon. I feel like I found something important this weekend.
You did, Mac. You really did.
Well, that's all for today's episode of Daily English with Buddy. Thank you so much for listening. We really hope today's conversation gave you something to think about and maybe something to try this week.
And remember, if you're learning English, listening to natural conversations like this one is one of the best ways to improve. You're training your ear, building your vocabulary, and learning how real people talk.
So keep listening, keep practicing, and don't be too hard on yourself. Learning a language is a journey, just like finding yourself is a journey.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like. It really helps the channel grow. Leave us a comment and tell us, what was your favorite childhood hobby? We'd love to hear from you.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Daily English with Buddy so you never miss an episode. We post new conversations every week to help you improve your English in a fun and natural way.
Thanks again, everyone. Take care of yourselves and go find that thing you used to love.
See you next time. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.